Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mary Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour.
Harumph! Harumph! I was
Yay!
the harumph guy at one time. Whenever anyone would applaud, I'd always go harumph.
Right, absolutely.
They say, why does he get all the applause and I just get a harumph?
Oh,
But harumph is yeah, it's one of those old time things
right,
like in colonial days. So,
right,
oh, I'm
right.
Kaye Lazar. Thanks for having me here.
As always.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Today's a special day for you, I heard.
Yes, I'm fully vaccinated now.
Hallelujah. Now you don't have to wear a mask anymore.
That's right.
Yeah. Some people weren't wearing masks anyway, but
Well, I might still wear mine for safety reasons.
I'm still wearing my mask
Right,
because
right.
you can still get it.
Yeah, yeah,
People have gotten it, and not
yeah.
only have people gotten it, but I mean this makes no sense. People have been getting people have been wearing masks and getting COVID.
Right,
People have been throwing all caution to the wind and not getting it.
right.
And then recently, a famous comedian got vaccinated and then caught COVID.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it could happen, you know.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
And I've actually know people who've actually caught COVID, and I said, did you take any precautions? They said, yeah, all the precautions, and I still got it. So I was like,
mhm.
okay. I hang around with a lot of old people. That's how I stay so young. And a lot of them are like steadfast, not getting the vaccination because they think
Right,
it's all a government plot
right,
to enslave them or something.
right,
So I still wear the mask to keep from getting it from them and also to keep me from.
right, right,
I think a lot of people are safe. If everyone else is wearing a mask and you're not, then you're probably pretty safe
right, right. Yeah, yeah,
because diseases are other
yeah,
people. Yeah.
yeah. I'll probably wear my mask anyway after I'm vaccinated, even though I'm vaccinated now. But I just have to. I feel in my heart that I have to wear a mask.
Yes, I gotta tell
So,
you, I'm taking all the precautions. I
right,
still go to the gym,
right,
and going to the gym, I mean, I
yeah,
have to wipe down everything.
right, right,
I usually wipe down when people were looking. Now I'm wiping down things when people aren't looking.
right. Yeah,
Wearing flip flops in the
yes,
shower,
right,
wearing a mask up into the swimming pool and back.
yeah,
So not in
right,
the pool.
right, right.
I gotta tell you, I was not wearing. I was swimming at the height of the pandemic. I said
Mhm.
I got to start swimming, and that they kind of opened things up again, even though things got worse when they opened things up. But since things were open, I said, well, I'm
Right.
going to go swimming now. This was back in October,
Mhm.
and I felt that if you wore that you know gyms are kind of messy places,
Mhm.
but the pool might be all right
Yeah.
because you're not really you're always by yourself in a
Right.
pool.
Right.
You're swimming alongside people, but you're not really
Right.
talking to them or anything.
Right. Right.
So and so I felt that if I took the mask off and started swimming, and even if
Right.
I started talking to people, the
Yeah.
germs from our mouths would go into the
Oh
water,
yeah.
and the chlorine would kill. I mean, I mean, let's face it, people pee in the pools.
Ew. Gross. I
so
know. I know.
so I felt, well, COVID is as bad as pee. My and if the chlorine kills that, kills the pee.
Right.
So but you know, that's why I don't like pools with lots of little kids in them.
Right.
I like to think adults are a little bit more responsible.
Yeah.
The ones
Yeah.
I meet anyway.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the ones I meet aren't responsible at all.
Right. Right.
And you know, so you know, there's a lot of controversies. There's a lots of conspiracy theories about COVID and everything.
Mhm.
The only theory I have about the COVID-19 is that you've heard of COVID-19. I'm going to tell everybody about COVID-15. That's the 15 pounds you gained in the last
Yes.
15 months.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone got a little softer,
Yeah.
and now the summer's here. We have to get rock hard and fighting trim again, and that's so I've done all right,
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
but I think I've seen some people
Oh yeah. Yeah.
really pull the trigger on,
Yeah.
on their health.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so now I like to think everything's over and things, but
Right.
there's all these controversies, conspiracy theories, all this, and I listen. I know people that would not take the vaccination because of all this nonsense that there was microchips
Yeah.
in the drug that was given to us by Bill Gates,
Right. Yeah.
and he was going to track all our all our computer movements
Yes.
as a result of the shot. Listen, if you're on Facebook or YouTube or Google, they already are tracking you. If you have a cell phone, they're already tracking you.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they know where you are at all times. You ever notice
Yeah.
in the movies, they whenever someone's wanted by the police, the first thing they do is throw their cell phone out,
Yeah.
so so the police doesn't get them. But anyway, I yeah. So but I think a lot of it is oh, by the way, these people, they said I asked one guy who wouldn't get the shot. I said, why? This guy's weighed 400 pounds. I said, why aren't you getting the shot? He goes, well, I'm very particular what I put in my body. What?
What?
He eats at McDonald's 5 times a day,
Wow.
and he's particular what he puts in his body when it came to the vaccination. Well, but it's all these like strange, like cults.
Right.
People. We
Yeah.
actually have cults now, anti-Israel cults
Yes.
in the far left and the far right. We got QAnon.
Mhm.
You have they're all anti-Semitic, evidently.
Yeah.
You have all this, and I was always, I've always seen better people than me joining cults.
Oh.
So I always felt I got to steer clear of any of that stuff because
Right.
I always think that a smart person, see, at least when I was a kid or a teenager, a smart person running a cult would be would have it over a stupid person who's not in the cult.
Right. Right.
And when you're a kid, you're like that,
Yeah.
and you feel you could be taken over. Did you ever feel that way yourself?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've been, in a few cults.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Like what happened?
I was in one called the ROC,
Okay.
the Rock,
Yeah.
the Richmond Outreach Center,
Yeah. That's a cult.
and
Oh,
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah, and I didn't really have any problems, but
Mhm.
I was bullied there a lot.
Oh, okay.
You
They
know,
didn't make you like sell all your clothes or stuff. They just
no,
give
oh
them to the
no,
charity.
oh no, oh no, oh no.
I they like they bullied you.
Yes,
Okay. Well,
yes,
that's hardly a cult. A
right,
cult. Well, let me tell you what a cult does. A cult usually will. I have friends that have joined like 12-step programs,
uh huh,
and what happened was were they were good at getting them off drugs
right,
or
yeah,
alcohol,
yeah,
but then they weren't very good at what comes next, which was basically what happens. And I think Scientology does this.
right,
You go to it, and you're like the movie stars go to Scientology. You go to a lot of these 12-step programs,
right, right,
and they say we're going to obliterate your former personality.
right,
It wasn't doing you any good. All
right,
right,
mhm,
and then you'll get off drugs and alcohol,
mhm,
which is good.
yeah,
Okay, and then now we have to build you back up. And what they do is they tinker with your
yeah,
personality a
yeah,
bit, and your character, and then they one of the things they do is they say, okay, your parents weren't helping you at all. Your
yeah,
friends weren't helping you at all.
right,
They were, and as a result, you get rid of them. We're your new mom and dad.
yeah.
We're your new friends.
I went to another cult that was actually like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine actually was in a detox center,
Oh, okay.
and I think they had a little bit of 12-step there. And then what
Right,
happened was
right.
once she got out, I think she was fine once she got detoxed, but then once they sent her to a halfway house,
Uh-huh.
that's where they sunk their hooks into her,
Right,
trying to say that your parents aren't helping, your family's not helping, your friends
right.
aren't helping. One of the deals is that I haven't had a drink in years, and one of the things is that and maybe for some people this is what happens is that they tell you that you can't hang around your friends
Oh
anymore
yeah,
because
yeah,
they were getting
yeah.
you they were leading you towards bad behaviors,
Yeah,
which they do.
I would like that.
But
I
that's why they're your friends. That's why you enjoy being with
Yeah, I went through all that with the other company.
them. Yeah.
I didn't actually, you know, obey by the rules. So I left right before they were,
Yeah.
they were suspended. They suspended me for 2 weeks.
Suspended you?
Yes, for
Like
2 weeks.
what they make you stay in the corner or something?
Well, they thought that I wasn't following the rules or something.
Were you going home every day or were you living there?
I was going home,
Okay, when you go home you can do
but
what you want.
yeah, yeah.
That's
But
how I see it.
I did tell them that I quit. I don't go. I'm not gonna go here anymore.
Yeah. You know that those rules you're making me follow, they're not that's not for me.
Yeah, yeah,
I always tell people that.
yeah,
I always say, this might be a good group, a
yeah.
good job,
Right.
a good people to
Yeah,
hang out with,
yeah.
but you're just not for me.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, so they were like so anyway, you hang around with your friends, and your friends are always getting you in any trouble.
Yeah.
And but I kind of figured out that I can still have a good time, just
Yeah.
don't get into any bad behavior.
Right.
Stop drinking, for example.
Right.
When you go to a party, you know, just drink water.
Yeah.
You can still talk to the people. You can still
Right.
have fun.
Right.
I'm not going to obliterate them from my life. Yeah,
Right. Right.
that's
Yeah.
right. I've always had a mind of my own, really.
Yeah.
And and any bad habits I've ever had,
Yeah.
I always was like the first to notice them. No one, I mean, people would bring them to my attention, but then
Right.
eventually it got to the point where it was up to me to change them, and then I changed them.
Right.
And believe it or not, there's nothing I haven't changed. A lot of times when you go to the doctor, they'll tell you, well, you got to stop eating. What's my villain? You got to stop drinking soda, for example,
Mhm.
sugar soda, or you got to stop having extra whipped cream in your coffee or something,
Right. Yeah.
or something like that. These are and you all and the first thing people say is, "Oh, I can't do that." Well, guess what? If your life depends on it, you do that, and there's nothing I haven't been able. I mean, if I'm not a smoker, but if I were a smoker, if someone told me, if you keep smoking, you're gonna die.
Right.
Guess what I'll do? I'll stop smoking.
Yeah.
I want
Stop
to live.
smoking. Yeah. Exactly.
So everything is
Yeah.
is is manageable,
Yeah.
but you have to get these things before they get worse.
Right. Right. Right.
So cults, let me tell you, I lot of religions people think are cults. Like you said, um, I usually tell people that if I go to their church or something, I'm not going to jump up and down and cheer. I'm not going to get on my knees
Yeah.
and I'm not going to handle any snakes. I'm just there as an observer. I'm just there, to keep things fun.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Right.
interfere. And a lot of times, people, but a lot of things, I mean, sometimes I always feel that sometimes, I, the cult was at one time was that, oh, for example, I remember once, I went to a bar mitzvah and they made us, you have to wear a hat. You have
Yeah.
to
Oh
have your
yeah.
head covered when
Yeah.
you're a man,
Yeah.
and but you have to have your head covered. And they gave these nice little commemorative yarmulkes
Yeah.
with the name of the bar mitzvah boy on there.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, that's nice." I put it in my pocket, and I wore my hat,
Yeah.
really cool looking fedora hat,
Yeah.
like Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
And they all got mad at me because I wasn't wearing. And I said, "Hey, the rabbi would agree with me. I'm wearing a hat like him. He was wearing a big hat like that. He wasn't wearing a."
There was a guy that I went to high school with
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah,
He wore like a little Jewish cap.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's called yeah, and well, usually when you wear that, I mean, you have to have your head covered in holy places, but for the most part, uh, Jews don't have to wear them,
Right.
but there are ones that wear them all the time.
Yeah.
In Fiddler on the Roof, they wear them all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, they even said, "Well, we've been wearing prayer shawls hats, and he goes, "Why? I don't know. It's a tradition." That's right. That's right.
Tradition.
But oh man, I can tell you all this crazy stuff. Like friend of mine, we went to a Catholic church
Mm,
recently, and you know I used to go to Catholic school, so I know all about that.
yeah.
And so and he he's standing up, sitting up,
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
down, kneeling, standing up, and it was very, and there was
Mm-hmm.
no, it was very somber, a lot of
Right,
choral music, a
right,
lot of
right.
organ music.
Yeah.
And he told me, listen, I could never be a Catholic. I said, why? He said, because it looks like they have no fun at all. It's all very serious here. And I said,
Yeah,
yeah, it is very serious. They take it very seriously.
yeah,
I said, I said, I said, the Catholic Church is like the Marine Corps. It
yeah,
doesn't change to please you. You
yeah,
change for it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love the church I go to now
Yeah.
because it's like, I like to scream and shout,
Yes.
and dance and praise God.
Well, I think you should find. I think everyone thinks their church is one size fits. Like if it works for me, it works for everybody. No, we're all different people,
Yeah,
and cults try to say, well, everyone else is an idiot, but you and me, and that's no way to live. You know, that's like 1984. Everyone's the same.
right, right.
Automatons just following orders. And so anyway, I was okay. I went to this. I was trying to make points when I was a kid. I was in first grade, and I was in first grade. Didn't really know. Listen,
Right.
you're 6 years old. You don't know
Uh-huh.
anything about the world. Believe it or not, I knew even less than anything in the world. So they had like it was near Fort Lee, Virginia, which is the military base, and
Yes.
they had this. I think the bishop came. I don't really remember the service so much, but there was this big, like in the football field,
Hmm.
like the stadium. They had this a mass, and it was all right. And I was sitting with a bunch of kids and everything
Right.
was good. And then what happened was, um, um, a kid ran out. A kid ran out
Oh.
and started running around in circles, and they had to catch him. And the kid, and then they moved him. And I thought this. I was 6 years old. I thought this was the funniest thing I ever saw. There was like the kid must have been like 3 years old, and I started. So one of the nuns saw me laughing
Uh-huh.
hysterically and brought me to sit by her. And
Mm.
I thought, I didn't know. She goes, let's just pay attention to what's going on. I said,
Mm.
okay. And that was it. And it ended there.
Yeah.
So I thought,
Okay.
we take the bus back to to the school. This is on a Sunday night. And then nothing. And then I go back to school Monday and nothing really happens. Then Friday, what happened was the, what is this awful story I'm going to tell you? One of the teachers and the teacher that kind of harbored me and the principal all got together, and I'm just this little boy, right? These tall women with uniforms on and everything. And they said he was misbehaving at that church service, at that mass last week. And she goes, oh, and the principal said, I want you in my office and everything. So I go to the office. I don't know what, I've never been to the principal's office before, and she starts laying into me, 6 years old.
Mm.
How dare you make a mockery of the church service? How dare you?
Wow.
And I said, a kid just laughed. I don't care about that kid. You shouldn't have been laughing at it. None of us
Wow.
laughed at it. Why were you the only one who laughed at it?
Wow. I
And
know.
she went on and on and on and on. And I started crying,
Wow.
crying. And, when you're 6 years old, you cry all the time. And she just said, stop your crying. Said that crying might work with your parents
Hmm.
and your friends, but it doesn't matter a difference to me.
Hmm.
And so I stopped crying. And then I realized, sadly,
Mm.
that and she was like a very authoritative figure. She was like the head of the school. She was
Yeah.
not only a nun, but she was also the principal of the school. She said, I pretty much figured out, these people aren't looking out for me. These people don't really care a whole lot about me.
Yeah.
And I kind of,
Yeah.
almost at the age of 6 years old, organized religion had pretty much a sour taste in my mouth after that.
Right.
And um, but I don't know if there's a good news for me, good news for me, and bad news for everyone else. because I was so distrustful of authority,
Mhm.
I realized that that uh, uh, I did not, by keeping them at arm's length. I never got into trouble that more trusting kids did. You know, years later, there was all these
Mhm.
scandals with child molestation amongst clergy and young and teenagers and young
Right.
people. I was 6 years old. I almost learned right away at 6 years old. Keep these people away from me. And if they're kind, that's one
Right.
thing. But if they're gonna just if they just come out, do it. Yes, do. They're and always be careful. People just say that always say do
Right.
it, do
Right.
it.
Right. Yeah. See, I like a church when you can be accepted.
Well, cults will accept you.
Mm.
That's that.
No, I mean like the better
Yeah. In fact, if they hate me from the get go, then we. It's almost like when you apply for a job and they don't like you and you don't like them. Okay, let's go.
Right.
Let's go
Yeah.
home. I I can tell you a whole bunch of crazy things about yeah. So and so I was so I was very mistrustful, and but I think I got off well. I didn't have to
Right.
worry about such things,
Right.
and also I grew up with an open mind. That there are lots and usually when they try to narrow your focus, you
Right.
know in fact I always feel that religions, when they tell you or anybody, when they tell you this is what we do and this is what you have to believe, and then if you ask questions, no, you're not supposed to ask questions. I said,
Oh
oh,
yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
said, no, you better ask questions.
Right.
Better
Right.
ask questions
Right.
because yeah, because that's because when they don't want to answer questions and when they try to evade these things, that's when it gets serious. There was um uh there was a they for one thing they used to say, I mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
uh no sense of humor. A lot of religions have no, or a lot of people in religion have no sense of humor.
Yeah.
And I've always been all about sense of humor. In fact, if it doesn't have a sense of humor, I'm out of there. I'm gonna I find my comedy somewhere else.
Yeah, I remember. I was at a Baptist church years ago
Yeah.
when I was younger.
Yeah.
My every time I would go with my dad or one of his girlfriends, ex girlfriends or
Yeah.
something. And then when we came home from church,
Yeah.
and they were both like, "You need to start participating in church more."
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh, like they wanted you to with the
yeah,
tambourine and everything.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I was kind of bored at church.
Yeah.
I used to like doodle and draw
Yeah.
and
Oh, I used to bring.
so
I once brought a comic book to church. Oh, and the worst thing is if you got late to church, and my mother would hated like making this procession in the middle of the church while the priest was talking,
right.
and I thought that was kind of cool. I said, hey, look who arrived! It's me. And sometimes, a lot of times it was really crowded, and they would sit us down, and the only aisle and the only pew that was open, and the kid, and one I remember one time there was this kid that I knew from school, and he was so funny, and for some reason I got to sit by him, and it was probably the only good time I ever had at church. It was really cool. And we just laughed it up the whole
I
time. And my
know,
mother said at that, yeah, I never want you talking to that kid ever again. That kid has evil, in his eyes. And I said, well, that's what I liked about him.
were y'all loud at church? Did y'all laugh loud at church? Did
No,
y'all?
we were just. I learned from this was like years later, like maybe fourth grade, and first grade. I learned what happens when you laugh at church and laugh at church. You get in all this trouble. So so they like I said, there was my mom was very religious. She goes to church. She goes to confession and has nothing to confess. She
Yeah.
lives a perfect life.
Yeah.
I don't know what she make things up when she goes to confession because she evidently doesn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I remember uh, uh, she, uh, she would always tell me, be sure you tell Be sure you tell the priest what a louse you were last week to me and your family. Money you took out of my purse. Be sure to tell him that. I say, what are you, my lawyer? So anyway, so like I said, no sense of humor. Lot of, most of the people I have trouble with in life either have no sense of humor or they're like a bully and they have like they think
Right.
they're the funniest. They think they're Don
Exactly.
Rickles, you
Right.
know, and they're not Don Rickles. Don Rickles is Don Rickles, but not. But you can't. You're not Don Rickles. You're just
Right.
mean.
It was like that with The Rock too. When I went to
Yeah.
The Rock,
So what happened was, I was watching the Merv Griffin show. Anyway,
right.
there was a comedian on the Merv Griffin show, and I remember a nun telling me you could not make jokes about God or Jesus or the Bible or anything
Yeah.
or us. You
Yeah.
certainly could not make jokes about me and all my other nuns and all my other. So I'm watching the Merv Griffin show,
Mhm.
and this comedian comes out and he starts telling all this religious humor, and he was getting people laughing at him, and I'm just watching with my mouth open. I can't believe this. I said, is the lightning going to strike and kill him dead because the is he allowed to say that and all this stuff? And then and so I'm watching him, and then a couple of the jokes I start snickering at, smiling at, trying to hold it back, and then he finished telling these jokes, and there's a commercial, and a strange thing happened. Nothing
Mm.
happened. And
Wow.
I said, who are these people to tell me I can't laugh about stuff? I can't find the humor in something so that they take so seriously. You know, the way people talk, like, yet when I had to get in line to go back to class, I couldn't talk to my neighbor,
Mhm.
or I'll, have to go to the priest to confess it or something that I committed a sin against them and everything.
Right.
And then, then years later, or around that time, Richard Nixon resigned the presidency.
Yeah. Right.
This, the, and I said to myself, you mean the most important man in the world, the most important job in the world, you can resign, but I can't talk to someone in line in class. And I said, oh, who are
Oh.
these people? Who are these nuts
Oh
telling me
Lord.
how to do these things?
Jeez.
So I yeah yeah steer once they start telling you in in fact, a lot of people joke that every religion that ever existed used to be a cult that became that enough people joined it that it stopped being a cult.
Ah.
A lot of these people knock on your doors and ask you for money and stuff. You know, almost every church used to do that. Every religion used to do that, and then they became now they're pillars of the community. You know why people go to church so much is because people say, well, how come people in the country always go to church? You always see churches everywhere in the country.
Yeah.
And the reason why is in the olden days that when they went out west and stuff,
Yeah.
they would work the farm all week, or they'd work
Right.
in the factories or work in the
Right.
coal mine or something.
Right.
And then come Sunday, they took a day off, it was the Sabbath, and they put on nice clothes, go
Mhm.
somewhere, sit with other people, and just sit and listen. And thus they look forward to that break time.
I think probably one of the other reasons why people just go to church
Mhm.
is because they go for the gathering or something.
Yeah,
Like they wanna they don't wanna be lonely. They wanna get
yeah,
out of the house or something.
they're very good churches getting people together. Um, and yeah, I've always been pretty good at picking my own friends.
Yeah, I mean, I've always picked my own friends too.
When I was a kid, I thought all religions were the same. I didn't know there was a
So.
difference in religion.
Right.
So whenever I heard church on the radio, and my mom would make me go to church, I said, just listen to it on the radio. Because that's not the church we go to. It sounds good to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it believe in the Ten Commandments? Fine with me. And the
Yeah.
Golden Rule.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people will like want to fit in. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, that's important. Fitting
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
I I never fit in anyway. Then I think about it. I've always been different. I'll tell you how different I am. Whenever And and I think you're the same way. That's why we get along so well. When I go to a magic show and the magician says, "Can I get a volunteer from the audience?" I'm always I always raise my hand. No, not you. We want the pretty girl.
Yeah.
We don't want some man.
Right. Just like in circus. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes little kids will like
Yeah.
end up being the clowns and stuff.
Yeah.
Like volunteer the clowns.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that.
I always want. Yeah. I always
Like,
want to hang with the
but I
clowns.
never got picked for it. But I really wanted to be with the clowns. So just in the
Yeah.
audience.
You know, clowns are. A lot of people don't like clowns. I found out. I only found this out
I
recently.
love clowns.
I love them too.
Yeah.
But clown, because I like the costume and the everything.
Yeah.
But I found out something about clowns. It's only in America they don't like clowns.
Yeah.
And the reason why they don't like clowns is that in Europe it's actually a great art form, and in
Right.
China and places like that, the clown
Mhm.
they don't usually say anything,
Right.
but they could entertain children
Yeah.
without saying a word, without the language barrier
It's
being
like
around,
a mime. Like a mime.
like a mime. And it's a high art form.
Mhm.
But in like Fellini has made movies about
Yeah.
clowns and but all the thing we know in America is the
Oh, yeah.
Pennywise,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
clown, the evil clown from. We have the
Yeah.
insane clown posse. We also have uh what other clowns we have? We we have Bozo, who's just this loudmouth insulting
Yeah.
clown,
Yeah.
and then we have Ronald McDonald,
Oh, yeah.
who is a shill for unhealthy food. So of course we don't like clowns in America. We got four very poor examples of all.
Yeah. I think I heard one time that some people think that clowns make them cry.
Well, the clown's not doing a good job if he's making them cry. He's
Like,
supposed to make you laugh.
or the parade. A parade presentation.
Parade.
That makes them cry.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird. I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Remember, I remember, I remember going to someone's house and all they had was paintings of clowns.
Right.
And for some reason that they weren't all happy clowns. Some of them were sad clowns.
Yeah.
So in fact, I met the saddest clown. What was his? Emmett Kelly.
Oh,
I met him years ago. He was like I meet a lot of celebrities. Believe it or not, I met Emmett Kelly. I was a very little boy. He's still alive. And Emmett Kelly was very up. I was crying when I saw him. Maybe I was too young for him. Clowns are kind of scary to kids little kids, and I think I was a little kid. Yeah. If I would have seen him maybe a year later, I was 4 years old. If I would have seen him at 5, I'd probably, hey, Emmett, hey,
Yeah,
the man. Anyway,
Right.
I think part 1 is over.
Yes. Well, tune in to part 2. God bless.